What is holding you back? Today's question is a little bit loaded, but I just want to get down and dirty, but also be a little bit more broad. We've spent several episodes talking about specific things to work on if you are a violinist. We've had some episodes that are about improvisation and free writing, and we've had some philosophical episodes. Today's episode, if you are wanting to make a move with music, any move, let's dive into exactly what's holding you back. Let's get into that conversation. Let's attack the nitty-gritty. If we haven't met yet, I'm EP Archer, and I help committed adults release their blocks and step into their musical power with their authentic voice and action steps that lead towards results. And today, we want to think about what's holding us back. Are you somebody who has been thinking about playing an instrument, somebody who used to play an instrument, maybe somebody that played as a kid, but you're thinking about picking it back up and it feels a little bit intimidating? Maybe you're somebody that's already taken that step, but there's something that just isn't fitting, isn't working, it isn't feeling good. Maybe you're somebody who's always played instruments or always sang and wanted to write a song, wanted to improvise. I want you to just think for a minute, what is the next level for you musically? Is it jumping in for the first time? Is it taking where you are a step further so that it feels more like you, so that you can open more, so that you can show up differently? Or is it accelerating your system so that you can have success? It doesn't matter what the answer is. Maybe you're already performing and feeling pretty good about it, getting some good feedback, sounding great with your voice, your instrument, or both, but there's a longing and you can't quite put your finger on it. I want to talk about all of those different things that we just mentioned having one block in common. There's something that holds us back. And it's actually a pretty simple block if you think about it scientifically, if you think about how our brain wires and fires. We've done total episodes on neuroplasticity and how our brain functions, and I don't want to get too nerdy. I just want to be real with you. But our brain does a few different things, and this is going to affect when you practice your instrument. This is going to affect when you're doing your coffee routine in the morning or your tea routine, whatever your routine is. This is going to affect your driving. But our brain was designed and works for us to make things easier, to create less friction, and to enable us to be on autopilot. The problem with that is that when we're yearning to go somewhere else than where we are currently, when we long for growth, and when we're confronted with change and things that are uncomfortable, then our brain isn't so helpful. And what we need to be in is in our body, in our personal power, and in our intent. And then we double check our actions and behaviors towards that. Let me give you an example that's just rudimentary practicing an instrument type of an example. Let's say I've got a performance of some type. Maybe it's a community sharing. Maybe I'm just going to show up at an open mic. Maybe some friends are gathered together and I'm going to be the one sitting around the fire playing the guitar. Maybe it's a little bit more serious, a concert hall or recording session. Maybe I'm wanting to go in the studio and just lay down something. I've got a goal in mind though, and I'm working towards it. And the cool thing about saying, what do I want? What is my goal? What is my desire? Especially if you go to a step further and say, what is my dream desire? Because then you'll get all kinds of whiplash, all kinds of feedback that you weren't expecting. And it's great because we get to look at ourselves more deeply. But if once I set a goal, immediately there are a chain of events that I have to reverse engineer to meet that goal. If it's playing around the fire and being the guitar player for a group of friends, well, then I've got to know some chords on the guitar. I have to be able to put those chords together in a song, and I've got to be able to keep a steady tempo so people know where we are. And I might have to sing a little bit to get the song started or have someone in mind that could do that. Not super stressful, but definitely there are steps on that path. And if I only know one song on the guitar, or if I only know 2 chords, that goal is going to demand that I grow. It's going to demand that some things are done differently. Maybe my goal is just to be able to play this amazing, wild, beautiful violin melody. And it requires vibrato and it requires shifting. And I don't do that yet. I've played for a long time, but I've kind of avoided those harder things. Well, those goals, reverse engineered, set in motion weeks of work or months of work or whatever it takes for my body and my brain and my mindset to achieve first the vibrato needed, the shifting needed, maybe the key signature and finger patterns. And if I love that piece, it's worth it. If it's just something, Grandma Sue wants me to play or something that, someone in my family is like, oh, I wish you could play that. It's not going to stick the same. But if it's something I'm yearning for, if I'm really looking forward to that campfire and that creates a meaningful experience for me, connection to myself and to others in a way that's real, that's going to make a difference. And what happens when we reverse engineer that goal is all kinds of things creep up. Our resistance. And we start feeling like, oh gosh, what if I don't know enough songs? What if I don't have enough chords? Oh my gosh, vibrato is so hard. I've been doing these exercises all day or all week and it doesn't sound any different. It sounds like, like a cat making a hard noise for the cat to make. And all of a sudden, what our brain is trying to do is, it's noble. It wants life to be easier for us. We don't have to make things hard. We don't have to be on a mindset that we have to work so hard. If you've ever read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that mindset that we have to nose to the grind, rat race, push ourselves. We don't have to do that with music. And in fact, when we do, it loses that meaning that it had for us, that connection, that beautiful heart space, which is why we did it in the first place. And so what our brain is just trying to do is make it easier, give us a shortcut, which in some ways is great. Hey, if I know an easier way to clean my house or a shortcut that's going to get me somewhere and avoid traffic, that's great. But when I'm growing, when I'm shifting things inside me that maybe have been blocked or not opened up yet, that shortcut, that feels like a block. And so maybe what's holding you back isn't you. It's just this brain function that tries to make things easier for us. And we can sit down, and this is funny, I do this even with my younger students. It's like you're having a conversation with yourself. And really you're talking to your brain, and your brain's like, you're repeating something and you're trying to get those correct repetitions. Maybe it's a cool little pentatonic intro to the G chord on your guitar, or maybe it's this beautiful note on the first position and shifting up to third with that nice vibrato, and you're doing your repetitions. And what will invariably happen is after a certain number of repetitions, everybody's different. Some people it's after 3 or so. Some people can get up to 10 or even farther. Your brain just kind of shuts off and all of a sudden it starts playing it wrong again, or doesn't play it well, or there's something that slips up. And that is just that brain wiring trying to give you an out, right? And you just have a little talk with your brain and you say, hey brain, we're not giving up on this. We're not going to be super emotional about that. Thank you for the data, but I would like to increase, right? And it's literally just this dry conversation because it's so easy at that point to get emotional or to let limiting beliefs or our identity hold us back. If your identity is, I'm somebody who picks up my instrument once in a while and I'm not that good. And I hear people say this all the time. They've been playing their instrument for years and they don't identify as a musician. They don't say, yeah, I'm a musician. It's funny because I'll meet new people and I work with committed musicians was a phrase I was saying for a while. And people are like, oh yeah, I don't know any musicians. And so then I would say, do you know anyone that plays an instrument? Yeah, I know. I do. I play an instrument. Oh, but I'm not very good. I know tons of people, but we're not real musicians or we're not professional. The idea that our identity is somebody who just plays an instrument and we're not that good, where does that lead? Imagine if you had done that in your career. What if you're a pilot and you're like, well, I fly planes sometimes, but I'm not that good. Like what? No, I have trained on this. I'm a pilot. I know how to carry people safely in an airplane from place to place. That's an identity that we can own and be proud of. You playing an instrument is also an identity shift. And I think when you do that, the problem solving and the working through it and the commitment changes. When I'm solving a problem, I'm solving a problem with my musician mind, Not with like, I picked up this instrument, I don't really know what to do with it, but like, okay, I don't have vibrato. Okay, who does? What does that look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What instruction is available to me? How can I go from A to B for the first step of that? And we reverse engineer it just like we would for problem solving for our kiddos, or problem solving for something with our home that we own, or our career, our profession, or a job that we're asked to do as, amazing adults in this world that know how to do things. So don't sell yourself short. What might be holding you back is just your brain trying to make it easy. And you can say, no, brain, it's cool. I don't mind working hard. I don't mind growth. This is just data and information, and I'm happy to have it so I can take the next step. And it might be your identity. And if it is, that's okay. You can wait to take on that mantle, to really commit. But I promise you, instead of trying a lesson, or instead of dabbling with what you're doing, commit, jump in, dive in, say yes. Say yes to yourself and your music, and you will see that things fall into place. It becomes not a question of maybe I will, or if I can, or I'm not sure, to I'm doing this. I maybe haven't found the way yet, but I will. And that shift feels so amazing, almost as amazing as playing music and feeling it through your body, being able to communicate, being able to lift that sound, to share that sound, to have an emotion, and to be able to live that emotion through an instrument or through your voice. To me, these are some of the most magical moments of my life when I didn't have the words, but music had the message. Music had the language, and it still does have the language for you. And even if you can only play one note on an instrument, you can express how you feel with music. If any of this is resonating and you would like to do this in a way that has structure and support, and so you don't have to go it alone, look me up on Facebook, EP Archer. And if you're an adult violinist that is ready to jump in, to commit, to take the next step and not have to go it alone, we have a free Facebook group for you called Violin Unlocked, where you can start feeling like you're surrounded by people doing the same thing as you, getting that expert feedback. It's absolutely free. Pop in, just say hi or ask a specific question. I'm there every day. I can't wait to see you. Come and say hi, because your best music is on the other side. And I'll see you there.